Today, I'm going to be showing you my simply beautiful life as an everyday homemaker. I'm Rebekah with Learning Together by Grace, Homemaking God's Way. Y'all, let's go.
Amazing grace, how sweet the sound that
I am starting this day off by making some homemade granola. This is one of those go-to things that I make for my family. We love eating it as cereal. I like putting it on top of my granola and even ice cream, you guys. And it's so simple to whip together, and you probably have most of the ingredients in your pantry. I'll be sure to put the link to my blog for this granola recipe down below in the description. You guys, trust me, you'll want to make this. It's so versatile. My everyday homemaking is pretty simple. I wake up every morning, I do my devotional time with God where I pray and I read my Bible, and sometimes I'll journal. And then if I have planned out my week, I will look at my schedule just to see if there are any pertinent things that I need to get to. Otherwise, if there's nothing that I need to get to that's pertinent, then I'll begin my day with making breakfast for my family. I like to make sure that I have a protein, a fruit or a vegetable, and a grain whenever I am making food for my family. It doesn't matter if it's breakfast, lunch, or dinner. And so from that point on, I will go into my garden and I'll spend time there just to see what needs to be tended to. You'll see that later on in the video. But one thing about everyday homemaking is that you have to have a routine, something that is going to get you moving and help you stay motivated in your time of homemaking. Homemaking can become very repetitive. I know I've spoken about this numerous times in previous videos, and sometimes it can become mundane. But there's so much beauty in the simplicity of homemaking. Like right now, as I'm watching myself create this granola from scratch, this is something that I never thought that I would be doing. Creating things from scratch, things that I would buy from the store. I'm making those things. I'm coming up with recipes, or either I'm finding recipes online to help me with making these foods from scratch. Homemaking is a continual learning process, and it is simply beautiful. I've learned how to make sourdough, and this is something that I didn't even realize I could do. I knew that bread making was a big thing, but creating sourdough, wow. I started my sourdough journey maybe about a year and a half ago, and I created my own starter. And the crazy thing is that I created this starter when I was in the process of moving. I don't know why I do this to myself. I add insult to injury when I'm already busy. But nonetheless, I created this starter. And so now I am able to make sourdough bread from scratch for my family. I no longer purchase bread from the grocery store. It's very rare. I actually did purchase a French loaf stick from Trader Joe's last week. It was pretty busy, and I just felt like I wanted a sandwich and I did not have any bread. But I made sure that it was an organic loaf of bread and that the ingredients were pretty clean. But otherwise, I don't buy bread. And that was probably the first time that I did buy bread like that in about a year and a half. But things like this, these simple things, make homemaking beautiful. And just the everyday work of homemaking is something that is necessary. Sometimes we feel that with being at home is I'm just at home. I'm not doing anything important. What's the purpose? Anyone can do this, right? I would say yes, and I would say no. Yes, because sure, anyone can cook, anyone can learn new skills. That's very true. But there's something about being able to consistently do the same things every day, knowing that you are creating something that is stable for your family. And that's one of the beauties that I have found in homemaking is that my children know that I am going to consistently create something beautiful for them. My husband knows that he can consistently come home to a home cooked meal, to a house that is put together, and children that have been nourished, be it mentally, spiritually, emotionally. And he's going to have a wife who is present and ready to be there as he needs me. And so these are the things that I like to do on a daily basis to create a simply beautiful homemaking journey for myself. I like to make sure that my house is put together by cleaning. I really enjoy a clean kitchen because, as I've said before, my kitchen is the hub of my home. I want it to look beautiful. I want it to be ready to be used when I need it. I'm not the only one that actually cooks in the house. My children can cook and my husband can cook as well. And so being able to be fully stocked and being able to have things where they belong makes the process of cooking so much easier. All right, you guys, here's that granola after it cooled down. I usually let it cool for about 20 minutes and then it becomes hard like this. Now, I will say that homemade granola, I have yet to figure out how to make it as crunchy. It's still very crunchy, but it's not as crunchy as what you would get from the store. But you guys, I can tell you, for me personally, the taste is way better. I create so many variations with this granola, and this particular one I use pumpkin spice, but my recipe that I have, it does use cinnamon. But I've done chocolate in it, I've done peanut butter in it, so many variations to this simple recipe. And I keep it in an airtight container so that it remains fresh up to 7 days. All right, back to what I was saying. My kitchen, I like for it to be organized. Everything has a home because it makes things so much easier when it comes time to preparing a meal. And even though it can be tedious sometimes to clean up after yourself because you can get tired and you can get a little frustrated, but I have found that doing these simple tasks quickly makes things a lot smoother. For me, I have the most energy before 3 o'clock. And so once 3 o'clock hits, I start getting a little sleepy. And this has just been me. This has just been me pretty much my entire life. I start getting sleepy, and around 3:30, I want to just sit down. But sometimes I have to push through in spite of. And once it's time for dinner, I usually get a nice little pep in my step around 4:30, 5 o'clock. And I am so grateful that I pushed through and maybe washed those few dishes that were remaining from lunch or even breakfast, because dinner time is go time. This is the busiest time of day for me. So in between my cleaning and cooking my granola, I'm doing some stretch and folds here on my sourdough. I use timers all the time in my kitchen, in my life period, because this is what helps me stay focused and stay on schedule. and allows me to do the things that I can do. Sometimes I'll even set an hour-long timer just to clean, because sometimes that mental capacity is not there to clean, and just knowing that I have something that's going to tell me when to start and when to stop makes cleaning easier. Now that I've done some stretch and folds, I'm out here in my garden. I'm just fertilizing my plants on this particular day because I try to fertilize them every couple of weeks just to make sure that they are growing and producing. I actually have another video that I will be posting next week to show you an update on my garden. Things are starting to pick up. They're growing. I planted out some things, and I want you guys to see some of the things that I've planted. And also, I'll share with you some of the things that aren't going so great in my garden, because I want to be transparent and honest with the gardening process and just with my life in general. Because you know what? Life is not perfect. Things happen. And I literally am learning as I go. But continuing on with my homemaking, just my everyday homemaking, you guys, these are the things that I do on a regular basis just to keep me in a groove of living my life. Sometimes with staying at home, it can be so easy to get bored. It can be so easy to feel like the purpose of just being at home isn't even worth it sometimes. And so I am constantly trying to keep myself moving and active to create this simply beautiful life that me and my family enjoy. So I'm back in the kitchen doing some more stretch and folds. Those 20 minutes that I was outside, it was allowing the dough to relax a little bit so that I can come back in to do some stretch and folds for my sourdough. Now, back to my everyday homemaking. Another thing that I want to make mention of is that oftentimes when my life gets extremely busy, I have a desire, a yearning desire to just be home and just be in my kitchen or be out in my garden or even sitting on my bed and maybe watching something on YouTube or even reading a good book. During the winter months, having a nice cozy blanket, I like my heated blanket, a nice heating pad, a warm cup of tea, or even coffee. There's just something about home that makes me want to be there when life gets hectic. My family and I just came off of a very busy season. During the school year, we do homeschool co-op, and during homeschool co-op, my kids are in theater, which takes a lot of time. Both of them actually were in dance. My daughter took the dance class. My son just did a dance along with my dance class as a little cameo appearance. And then also the things that we have going on at church. My husband just started back working this week, and things have just been a little crazy. Having long days, long nights, and just being on the go. It has been very tiring. And then on top of that, my little Gracie, my daughter, has been sick on and off. So life has been lifing, for lack of better words. And when life gets to lifing like this, home is where I want to be. I dream of being in a place where I can just knead some bread, or I can make something like granola from scratch, or make a lovely nourishing meal. Like tonight for dinner, I'm going to, not in this video, but this particular day that I'm doing my voiceover, I'm going to be making this delicious ground beef soup. I have some cabbage from my garden. I have some carrots and some celery. I'm going to use all of those things and some onion and garlic along with the ground beef, and I'll probably do some homemade bone broth in it, as well as some cheese, just to give it a little bit of extra flavor. But I yearn to do those sorts of things and to just be centered at being at home. So now in this clip, you guys are seeing me I'm going to start sewing some suspenders for my son. This was something that he needed for his theater production. And these are a part of the things that I do on a daily basis in order to keep my homemaking going and to keep our lives moving forward. You guys, I'm constantly moving. Even in the days where I'm complaining and I feel like I just want to sit down and I don't want to do it, there's something in me that realizes the value in what I'm doing. Sometimes I may not feel valued, but there is value. Right now, my daughter is coming to me because she is trying to get logged in so that she can begin her homeschool work. And when I began homeschooling, just to speak on that briefly, because this is a part of my homemaking, when I began homeschooling, although I was a public school teacher, I taught kindergarten and TK. Although I was a teacher, there was a fear in homeschooling for some reason. I didn't know if I would be able to do it, but that has become a part of my simply beautiful homemaking, everyday homemaking life that I actually do look forward to. Something that I have been able to see in my very own children with homeschooling is that they have expanded their vocabulary, and some of the words that they speak to me, I'm like, where did you even learn this? At 11 and 14 years old. A lot of people mistake my son for being like 16 or 17 years old because he is very mature. And even with my daughter, they're very impressed with her ability to be strong and to carry herself. So, this everyday homemaking, this everyday simply beautiful homemaking is something that is worth it. So now that we are nearing the end of the day, I am going to be making dinner here, and I'm going to do something simple. Again, I do a protein, I do fruit or vegetable, and I do a grain. We're just doing taco salad, and I create my own seasoning with ground cumin, paprika, garlic powder, salt, and pepper. But these things are what keep me and my family moving forward and thriving in my everyday homemaking. You guys, I want to encourage you today to look around, see the beauty in what you are doing as a homemaker. This is for both the working homemaker and the stay-at-home mom who is homemaking. There's so much value in what you are doing, and I don't want you to ever forget that. You guys, if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to leave me a comment down below. Let me know how your homemaking journey is going. Don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe, and share, and hit that notification bell so that you know when I post another video. God bless you. Take care. Bye.
Lost, but now I'm found. Was blind, but now I see.